Hello, everyone. We'll wait for 3 to 5 minutes more. Let everyone join in, and then we'll start. Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. It's really amazing to see so many people on a Saturday afternoon, and we are pretty much excited to have our first webinar at the Writers Studio. Uh, I'm Sohini Bhattacharya. Along with me, I have Nikita Singh. We are the founders of the Writers Studio. We started this year in Feb, and the only reason to start the Writers Studio was just to help writers uh, think about their own struggle. Can you hear me? If you can't, just okay. Okay, cool. So we started this writer studio to nurture the next generation of writers through practical learning, creative thinking, and of course, expert guidance. We also uh, focus on building skills, confidence, and of course, portfolios that open doors to real world creators. Now, we have come across many industry experts who have started with us as like experts giving their esteemed guidance and insights for writers and freshers One such inspiration is, of course, Mr. Santesh Rao. We are glad to have you. And he comes from 27 years of experience in writing and advertising. And yeah, this is, I mean, over to you, sir. All yours. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Sohini. Thank you. Thank you to the writers today. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, good afternoon. Actually, I'm in Dubai, so that's 1.5 hours behind. It's still morning for me. Thank you, yeah, for taking time out on a Saturday. Not easy. I know some of you may be working. Sunday is generally the day when everyone's free. But happy to see all of you in the room. And yeah, 27 years down in the business of advertising. I think it was a time when we didn't even have the internet, right? So I joined advertising when I didn't even have a computer. My first copy was written on a typewriter. So you can imagine how things have changed in 27 years, right? Yeah. So firstly, thank you again for the opportunity. And I think what the Writers Studio is doing is interesting. They're connecting younger aspiring writers to this field of writing, and essentially the field of writing, in my humble opinion, has changed a lot in the years that I've been in the field, right? Today you are seeing a profusion of AI writing. You are more dependent on AI tools. A lot of us are, and let's be honest about it. It's not that nobody is using AI, right? Everyone uses AI in some way or the other. It's just that there are a lot of concerns, at least at a senior level like mine, when we need to see who to hire, or who the next generation of creators is going to be, particularly in advertising. There is always this doubt on how much of it is AI, how much of it is the real person behind the writing. So I think leave aside the sort of gray areas there. What's important at the end of the day is that writing is a very personal endeavor, right? And always said that, and I've always believed that writing is essentially you. It's your perspective. It's what you've taken from your growing up years. It's what you're taking from the influences as you've been growing up, the books you've read, the movies you've seen, the music you've heard, the food you've eaten, the people you met, the places you traveled. All sorts of different influences come into it, and these influences could have come to you in a variety of languages. It could have come in Bengali, which could be a mother tongue, or Gujarati, or Kannada, wherever. English binds us as a language in India, which is a good thing, because that's what has made India a powerhouse, because English is so widely spoken. But most of the good writers I have worked with in my career, thinkers, creators, planners, art directors, they come from very humble backgrounds. They come from backgrounds where they've pulled out their roots and got into advertising, right? And that is important. Never forget that at the end of the day, for every Zomato ad that you see outside, right, there is a lot of great advertising that's done in regional languages. So there are a lot of things we'll discuss today as we go. There's 1.5 hour session, so there's plenty to talk about. Uh, Couple of things I want to say before I start the session. I think it's important that you understand that advertising or creativity or copywriting or any of its different forms, there are no rules, right? There are never rules. There will never be rules. The reason is because it is a very, very individually driven exercise, right? So somebody like a late Piyush Pandey had a very different way of looking at things. That was his way of looking at things. Today, Kenaz, who heads Ogilvy, has a very different way of looking at things. So she will have her own perspective. And advertising is always, creativity is always a very clear vision of one person or two persons. Of course, it's a team effort, but it's driven by the fingerprint of the person who drives it, really. So there is no right or wrong. There is no ye barabar hai, wo barabar nahi hai. That's all bullshit. Uh, the only thing that you need to know, very importantly, is that don't be in a rush, right? Uh, you may be 20, you may be 22, you may be 30, you may be 35, and 50, almost 51. You have to keep learning. So today, despite having spent 27 years in the industry, I am reverse mentoring myself pretty much every month, right? So I sit with a lot of young people like you in the room and learn about what is happening in their world, what technology is driving them, what kind of language are they speaking, what are their pain points. So life is always about learning, and as a writer, the best part about writing is that there is no retirement date. You can write till the day you're ordained on this earth, right? So don't be in a rush. Your life is going to give you a lot of experiences, and those experiences will keep mattering in the way that you think and the way that you create stuff, right? So setting that aside, I'll give you a little bit of a background about myself, and then we'll begin the session. So I come from a very middle class family in Bombay. I grew up in Bombay in those days. Now it's Mumbai. I almost refuse to call it Mumbai sometimes. For me, it's always Bombay. I stayed in a very middle class locality called Shivaji Park, which is today known as the cradle of cricket. It's where Sachin Tendulkar, Vinod Kambli, all some of the big names from of cricket, Indian cricket came from. So naturally, as a child, I was predisposed to playing cricket. Both my parents were bankers, working in a bank rather. Today, bankers is fashionable, working in a bank. Um, Simple childhood, but it was filled with cricket, a lot of books, music, and a lot of culture. So Shivaji Park thankfully had a melting pot of drama, poetry, influences as a child. You don't realize that this eventually becomes or could become your path ahead as a creative, right? But when you decide to take a creative path, somehow all of it, as Shahrukh says, na kainat sabko leke aati hai. The whole universe conspires to bring it together. That's probably what happens for creative people, right? And that's probably what happened to me. So, so I've had an interesting life. I've worked about 8 years in Bombay and about close to 20 years now in Dubai, and worked on a hell of a lot of brands across the board. Probably 500, 600 brands at the last count. I've forgotten actually how many I worked on. And whatever I've realized over all these years of working with so many agencies, so many people, so many good directors, music directors, sound artists, because writing is not just about writing. Writing is about creating things with other people, right? So when you make a film, it's not just your script, it's the director's vision, it's the sound recordist's vision, it's the actors, the way they put in their acting, it's the set designer. So you end up learning so much as a writer, right? And it goes beyond words. So what I've learned essentially in the last 3 decades is that uh, things are never still, right? They keep changing, and unless you adapt yourself very quickly to that change, you will find it frustrating in this field. And the second point of frustration, which I'm because I speak to a lot of young people, I've done a lot of copy workshops also in the past. I realize that people are getting burnt out at a very young age, right? I'm seeing a lot of disillusionment, a lot of depression almost, if I were to use that word, in young writers, in young creators, below 30 years of age sometimes. And sorry, I have a little bit of a cold, so bear with that. And I find it a little odd, and of course I have a lot of empathy for it, but I find it odd because I still enjoy the profession, right? I mean, I still get up every morning thinking, wow, I'm going to have fun today. So it sort of surprises me at one side, and it also saddens me on the other side, because as a writer, you want to create, right? Your job is to create, and if you don't find the passion to do it, or the joy to do it, or the sort of mission, or the vision, as they put it in brands, right, to do it, it becomes very difficult. So my two pieces of advice are that one is that keep changing, keep adapting, and second, don't ever reach a point of depression, right? Writing has to come from joy, and joy has to come from understanding the fact that somebody's paying you to create your own world actually, right? Imagine you're actually getting paid to write copy, or to create a film, or to write a book, or to write a blog, or whatever it is you're doing, right? To write a piece of music. And creativity should come from that joy, and remember this all your life, that there will be days, there will be weeks, months, probably years, where you will be on, completely depressed. You might have your head on the wall, but what's important is the ability to look at your own skills and say, I'm good, I can get over this, and nothing's going to stop me here, right? So that's the limited gyan. Let's go straight to what we're going to talk about today. Now, the story telling session is a session I've done in the past with some of my copy cohorts. So it's not going to be new if you've done it before. But what I've realized is this one session is actually a very interesting perspective on not just storytelling, but on writing. And to a large extent, it will help you clarify what your role is as a writer or a thinker, because I think there is a lot of confusion today, right? We use these words very loosely: writing, copy, content, storytelling, script writing. Uh, Sometimes we interchange them as well, like one is the other. Okay, it's not true. It never is. Yes, there is a basis of writing which sort of threads everything in the spectrum of things or the continuum of things, but all of these are individual disciplines. So sometimes you may be a copywriter who's not a good script writer, or you may be a good script writer who's not a good copywriter, or you may be a great content writer but you're still not a copywriter. So it's very difficult to find one person who pretty much knows the whole thing, right? Very difficult. Otherwise, people who write web series, today, why aren't they in advertising? You give them something to write on the copy side, they may struggle. At the same time, you may go to a very, very good copywriter in advertising, and he or she might struggle to write a piece on television, right? Which is like a web series or a micro drama or whatever, because the disciplines are different, and the processes are different. And it's almost like saying, like if you like cricket, if you're a T20 specialist, you like playing the 20 over game, you're not going to be that good in the test arena. You still know how to hold a bat or bowl a ball, but your skills are not developed for the longer game, right? So uh, there is a lot of super specialization in this whole thing, specialization and super specialization, and you got to understand that your job as a writer is not to worry about the designation, number one, and not to worry about the industry, number two. Keep yourself open to shifting across genres, and the only way to do that is to learn and clarify, learn and clarify, learn and clarify, and move on. And I'm going to use a fair amount of swear words. Absolutely don't let life fuck you in the face sometimes, because you learn the most when you are really up against it, right? When you make the mistakes. So let's get to the session now. The session is going to take about roughly about an hour, give or take. And then I'll keep a little bit of time at the end for any Q&A, or any kind of queries that you have, questions that you wanted to ask about the session, etc. Now, this is going to be a very interactive session. So if I will be asking some questions in the middle of the session, and if you want to answer, you can unmute yourself or even have your video on, whatever you're comfortable with. I don't want to keep this as a only me speaking session, right? Because it's not the way I do sessions. So there will be points where I might just pop a question out, and if you want to give it a shot, give it a shot. Let me just open my presentation. I do apologize for my bad cold. The weather in Dubai has been really crazy. Okay, the presentation is open, and let me just share it. Okay, so just let me know if you can see it once it's on here. Does it come? Okay. So I'm going to go full screen now, and sometimes when I go full screen, it may not be able to see you completely, but it's okay. We'll get to that part. So as you see on the title of the session is telling the story behind storytelling. Uh, it's also, to a large extent, the real story behind storytelling. And I think this word storytelling, if you notice, and especially if you've been on LinkedIn in the last, say, post-COVID scenario, you would have heard this word a lot, right? A lot of creators started talking about storytelling, that they're storytellers, that they believe in storytelling, that they imbibe storytelling, etc., etc. So curiously, a lot of people don't understand what storytelling is. They think it's a very simple thing. Story hai, telling hai, bolna hai, right? Not true. There is a lot of nuance that goes in storytelling, and there is a connection point that comes in between storytelling and copywriting. So today, I think after this session, you'll have a lot more clarity about not just the word storytelling, but also how it really bridges copywriting. And post this session, if you apply the principles of what this session is trying to tell you, or trying to give you, you might actually be able to better the way you think. Okay. And I'm using this word very carefully, better the way you think, because today a lot of us have given our thinking away to ChatGPT and Claude. right? We let ChatGPT and Claude think for us. It's become so bad that I don't think a lot of us writers would even be able to write without it. And I find that really, really surprising, because writing was being done for thousands of years before AI came, and now suddenly everyone seems to cannot write without AI. I don't know why, right? I mean, so you need to understand that your thinking capacity as a human being is always going to be much bigger than AI, because you're living it. You're living life. AI is definitely going to be faster than you. AI might have more options than you, but are they the best options? You got to figure that out. Yeah. So let's go into the session. So I've started with this image here. This image is a very old image from a very old English book. If you notice the language on the right hand side there, does anyone know what language that is? You can unmute yourself and answer. There's a certain script there, right? What language do you think it is? Anyone? I can't see you guys, so I'm on full screen on my computer. So
Sir, is it Latin?
uh, try. No, it's not Latin. Good try. Who was
It's
that?
English.
Sorry,
It's Arabic.
no, definitely not Arabic.
It's English.
It's
English.
English.
What
It's
English?
English. It's English.
Yeah, but what
It's
English?
archaic English.
Yeah,
Archaic English.
very nice. Yes, it is English, but it is what is called Old English, or as somebody rightly put it, archaic English, right? Now, English itself as a language has changed a lot. So today, what we call modern English is very different to what English was maybe 700 years back, 800 years back, 1,000 years back, right? And that's the beauty of language. Language changes as per the changes in society, as per modernism. The more modern people get, the more the language changes. That doesn't mean the old forms of language don't change, right? So, for example, if you are Bengali, your grandparents would speak a slightly different Bengali to perhaps what you are speaking today, right? Because the language changes as per the context. So to give you an example, the best example, and I'm not Bengali, so I can't speak the language. I understand the language. If you look at Gulzar Saab's writing, right? How many of you like Gulzar Saab when he writes? He will use words which are very, very earthy. For example, he'll say, words like chimta or bidi jalele jigar se piya, jigar ma badi aag hai, right? Or which is that? Uh, Chhod Aaye Hum Wo Galiyan. There's a song that he had written for a film called Machis. The words that he used are very earthy. But those words may not really be used today, right? Today's modern lyricist may not necessarily use those words. He or she might use words like, I don't know if you guys have seen Alpha, but there's a song called Massacre in that. Cannot imagine the word massacre being written in a song 50 years back or 40 years back or 30 years back. Today we're getting that in, right? So language changes, and this is old English many years back. Uh, it's from a book called Canterbury Tales, right? This is written by an English author called Geoffrey Chaucer. Now, there are different ways his surname gets pronounced. Some people call him Chaucer, some people call him Chaucer, because there's a little bit of the French in it. You can check the etymology or the pronunciation of that spelling. I'm not going to get into that. But this is a book called The Canterbury Tales. It had a total of 24 stories in it, approximately 17,000 lines of copy, and it took Chaucer roughly about 13 years to write it. And why the specific reference to this book, or why the specific reference to this, is that there was a certain phrase that comes from this book, which is a very important phrase, which came for the first time in the English language. Anyone guesses? I think I gave it away there.
Can I guess? Is it Once Upon a Time?
Did you see the slide flashing quickly?
I don't know. I just recalled. I guess I heard about this Canterbury Tales. Yeah.
But in my anxiety or my, I clicked the next slide and you saw it for like microsecond half there. But no, it's okay.
No,
You're right.
I
You're right.
recalled. I recalled.
This is not a quiz show, so it's okay. Yeah. So the phrase "once upon a time" is said to have come from this book, which is Canterbury Tales. Yeah. Till that time, it didn't exist as a phrase, though people people sort of, sometimes words and phrases come into the language. For example, how many of you have seen the film Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is directed by James Cameron many years back? Does anyone remember what he said in it? His famous dialogue? I'll be back. Right? Now, I'll be back would have existed somewhere as a sentence, but nobody used it as a dialogue. So the dialogue became popular, and today a lot of people use that as a meme, right? Or that's how meme culture comes about. You use a famous dialogue and you almost memeify it. So the original dialogue of dialogues, or the original phrase of phrases, is once upon a time. Now, what is beautiful about this phrase? Can anyone tell me why this phrase is so bloody important? Anyone? Let me just zoom out so I can see people if need be, or talk to people if need be. Anyone? Why do you think Once Upon a Time is important? Guys, we're creative people.
It
Think.
it
There's no right or wrong
it
answer,
tells
right?
us it tells us about it sets a tone on that this is history. It was something about the past that is now being narrated, or
Fantastic. Very nice interpretation. So you're saying basically it sets the context for what is going to happen, right? Very good. Anyone else
yes,
has a different interpretation?
It might be referring to like the cultural change of that time because it's like once upon a time. So it's referring to maybe fictional, maybe
Fantastic.
to historical.
Very nice. Very nice. What is Shweta saying? Shweta, can you read yours? Because I'm on the screen, which is like going wonky a little bit.
Yeah,
What are you
I
saying?
feel we are also conditioned to it. Like
Yeah,
since childhood, we've been reading fables and everything. So we are kind of
fantastic. Fantastic. So see, the thing with Once Upon a Time, let me go full screen again, is exactly what you three of you have said, right? It is one, it sets the context, right? It allows you to look at what the zeitgeist of the times is. Does anyone know what the word zeitgeist means? It means the spirit of the times, right? So every era in the world has a spirit. For example, in the 60s, it was all about, let's take music, for example. Okay, just take music. In the 60s, it was all about rap. In the 70s, it was about rock. The 80s came with disco. The 90s came with house. The 2000s came with, say, Chemical Brothers kind of, lounge kind of music. Today, we're back to maybe blues and stuff like that, right? So every era has a change, and it's a once upon a time. When I think of disco, for me, disco was the genre when I was growing up in the 80s, right? Madonna, Michael Jackson, George Michael. It was big on disco in the 80s. But for somebody who's growing up in the 70s, would have been rock, because at that time most of the rock bands like Pink Floyd and Metallica, sorry, not Metallica, but Pink Floyd and Led Zepp and all these guys came around. So Once Upon a Time is setting the context. And if you notice, there are two important words here. One word is once, and the second word is time, right? So what I do is, when you look at words, no, there is a clarity on what that word means. So what happens when somebody says, "Beta, ek din na," or "Beta, us din na"? Yeah, that is how your grandmother would speak to you, right? You immediately go back in time, or you go to a place, or you go to a memory, or you go to a geography, or you go to a person. So it sets your mind to listen to a story. That's why all stories start with Once Upon a Time. The moment you hear this phrase, you think of a story, correct? And that's the reason why this is the most important weapon in storytelling, the setting or the laying of the context. Okay, clear? Let's go ahead. Now, there are certain words here on the screen, and I'll try and read all of them because a lot of them will sound like they are tough words to say. But let me read it. So, Ashugs, Bards, Pink Shoes, Dastan Gois, Kissa Gois, Phillies, Sianchais, Goliards, Griots, Gusans, Kobzars, Magids, Minstrels, Dengbej, Ozans, Ulgershins, Hakavatis, and Vyasas. Lost my breath there. Anyone? Couple of them will give you a clue what they are.
They're all storytellers.
Beautiful. Who said that? I can't see your name, face.
Jairam hai, Jairam.
Very good. What gave you that? Yeah.
Dastan Goi, I'm familiar with it from the Urdu.
Yeah, correct. Correct. So if you look at certain words, right? Dastan goi. Dastan, the word dastan itself means story. Kissa goi, right? Kissa is also another word for story. Vyasa, the last word would give you a hint there, because who is supposed to have written what? Which Vyas wrote what? Indian culture.
Mahabharata.
Yeah, by?
Ved Vyas.
Correct. So Vyasa was also a storyteller.
This was also
Where I live, which is in Dubai, in the UAE, there is a form of old storyteller called Hakavatis. So the word before Vyasa, Hakavatis, they come from the Arab lands, which is the deserts of Arabia. The rest are spread around the world. So these are all what are called ancient storytellers. They're not just storytellers, they are ancient storytellers. Some of these have thousands of years, right, before them. And all these ancient storytellers had something in common. They would either tell a story, or they would narrate poetry, or they would play music, or they would dance, because that is traditional folk art. You go to any culture in the world, whether from the hottest climate to the coldest climate, whether north, east, west, south, from Alaska to Anchorage, I mean to Japan, from say Iceland to Antarctica, wherever, there would have to be some storyteller in that country or that region. And what was the reason they were storytellers that time? Because they were entertainers. Remember, these were days where there was no television, forget about internet, right? There was no live telecast of the football World Cup happening. So they had to entertain the people. Now, why? Can anyone tell me why they had to entertain? What was the reason for entertainment? Let's see if you guys think differently. Why would they have to entertain people with stories?
Because entertainment is the art of life. Entertainment is how you maintain a will to perhaps live or be in a society as such. It is how
Nice. Right.
be in
Yeah,
life.
very good. Entertainment is an escape, right? You live your life and you escape your life through entertainment. You also have to remember culturally, many years back, what was happening? The world was at war. There were kingdoms. So pretty much everyone was warring with each other. And what happens at the end of a day of hard work at war? You all sit on a campfire, all the tired soldiers. You have your meal, and then you need somebody to tell you a story so that you feel better after that day of war, right? So that was their primary job to sometimes to actually give a sense of relief to people who went to battle at the end of every day of battle or night of battle. Okay, they were also educators. They would move from place to place educating people. They were also advisors. Like, for example, if the king or the emperor had something to tell his kingdom, he would tell it to the storyteller, and the storyteller would then move from place to place within the land, like in China, different regions of China, telling the story to everyone that this is what the king said or the emperor said. So they were also historians. And what we don't realize is that through storytelling, a history of an entire culture gets handed down from one generation to another. Today, we have lost this art of storytelling. We have lost it because technology has become our storyteller today, right? Today, what do? The moment we get up till the moment we sleep, we are hooked on to some gadget or the other, right? And that has become our storyteller. But in the previous generations, when technology wasn't there, which is not very old, even like 30, 40 years back, there was no internet, if you think about it. It was an oral tradition. So storytelling was face to face, person to person, voice to voice, or voice to ear, right? So it was an oral tradition. And this is also the second aspect of storytelling. So one is the once upon a time, and the second is who are these storytellers and what did they do and how did they do it, right? Now, I'm giving you a little bit of this context and this history because you'll understand it's important today. It's always going to be important. There is always room for understanding your roots and where we come from, right? So though this looks a little old, it's still very fundamental. It's the first step. Now, all of us in our lives have had what we call, or I call, a first storyteller. Anyone? Who would have been your first storyteller in your life?
Unfortunately,
Grandparents.
me, sir.
No, just go
Mom.
one by one.
Grandparents.
Grandparents. Yes.
Grandparents.
Grandparents, right? Now, in the grandparents, would it be a grandfather or a grandmother?
Grandmother.
Grandmother.
Mother.
Anyone's grandfather
Grandmother.
told them stories? Anyone had a grandfather who told them stories?
It
Yes,
came
yeah.
much later, though. It was not initial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And not the
men
fictional stories, but
are,
experiences, I would say.
Yes, the
yeah,
stories
men are
were
not
like,
particular, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is the beauty of storytelling. Most grandfathers are not counted as storytellers, but grandmothers, yes, right? Whether it's your father's mother or your mother's mother, possibly, the probability of having a grandmother telling you stories when you were growing up is far higher than a grandfather telling you stories. So it's one of those unique things in the world, right? But yes, most of us would have heard our stories from our grandparents, right? Not our parents so much as our grandparents. Why? Because in a lot of homes, if your parents were working, then you would not have time with your parents when you were growing up. You would have more time with your grandparents. The second reason is because grandparents and grandchildren have that intimate relationship, right? It is about, when a grandmother holds a grandchild or puts the grandchild in her lap, and her instinct takes over to tell a story, right? So that's also an emotional reason why you're connected. So for me, of course, my first storyteller also was my grandmother. This is my dad's mother, by my dad's side. Now, she was born in the year 1910, and she got married at a very young age of 1912. At 1922 when she was 12 years old. In those days, remember, child marriage was very common. Today, of course, we cannot. But we're talking about in India, which is about 110, 15 years ago. Very different in India, right? And my grandfather at that time was in the railways. He used to work in the railways. And because he was transferred from place to place and she was stationed in Bombay, the only way they could communicate was through letters, right? And she was illiterate when she was growing up. He actually educated her in reading, writing to a point where her English became really good and she started writing really beautiful letters. In fact, I have some of the older letters that she's written to my grandfather still preserved neatly in my house in Bombay. So she was a very big influence on my life, like most grandparents are in our lives, right? The kind of stories I heard from her when growing up, the fantastical kingdoms and the people and the places, very vivid imagination. And I think to a large extent, again, we don't give credit to the imagination we get in ourselves as children, right? So I always tell creative people I work with that, your stories are all there within you. Only problem is you're not thinking about your childhood. Dig into your childhood. Go into the phase of your life which you have possibly forgotten, right? And childhood is a beautiful phase because it's also a very cruel phase as you're growing up, right? There is a lot of cruelty as a child. You don't understand the world. You don't understand the entirety of the intention of people, and that's where a lot of fertile memories are hidden. And when you pull those memories out, you in fact get a lot of interesting stories. And some of the best books in the world, some of the best pieces of music in the world, some of the best movies in the world have come from creators who have really dug back into their childhood, who have gone back to their first stories or their first storytellers almost. Yeah. So again, uh, this is something I put on LinkedIn many years back. In fact, it became very popular. It said, tell stories like your grandmother would, because she didn't call herself a content creator or an influencer. She just tucked you in bed, she dipped into her imagination, and told you stories with love and warmth, which is why those stories stay with you. And that is storytelling, guys. Storytelling is not a fashionable jargon word that you need to put into a LinkedIn post and say, hey, I'm a storyteller. Hey, I'm this. Hey, I'm that. No. Storytelling is a very intimate act between you and your reader, where you literally become the grandmother and the reader becomes the grandchild, and you tuck that grandchild into bed, put your, do that, what is called thappi tippi, and tell a story with that love, with that imagination, with that warmth. Make mistakes. Our grandmothers used to make mistakes when telling stories. Why? Because they were making up the stories as they were telling us the stories. That's the beauty of a storyteller. A storyteller makes up the story as he or she goes along. They understand that they're creating this world and it's not a perfect world. So that is why those stories stay with you. And that is the essential building block of storytelling, guys. The one-to-one intimacy that you create with your audience. If you get an audience that really you can transport into a world, whether as an author, whether as a writer, whether as a filmmaker, whether as a musician, like people who listen to rock music or who listen to Sufi music or who listen to ghazals, they really get transported into that world of a ghazal, right? Or of that pain or the angst or the romance or that emotion which you feel when you hear music. Similarly, like Christopher Nolan's new film has come, right? Odyssey. You guys have heard of it? It's released, I think, yesterday. I want to watch it on the weekend for sure. Now, Nolan is a great storyteller. Why? Because he immerses you in a world which is very familiar, yet something you haven't seen. And that is why it stays with you, right? So even if he takes you into Oppenheimer, or if he takes you into Tenet, or he takes you into even Batman, which he did many years back, he has a unique way of telling that story because he gets an intimate bond between him and the viewer. And that is the essential part of storytelling. Storytelling is not theory. Storytelling is practical, right? Because it has to be told. There's a story, it has to be told. Okay, let's go ahead. Clear so far? Any questions, guys? Anything which is bugging you, you want to ask, please do. All clear? Should I move? I take that as a yes. Okay, cool. All right. Now, what fundamentally writers, even the best writers, don't realize is that for a story to exist, it needs one extremely essential element. Extremely essential element. And this is where good writers, even I went wrong many times because I did not understand the fundamental building block. And that is where we are going to focus the session on today. Okay. And I'm going to demonstrate this with a few things here so you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Now, anyone knows who this is? Hello? Anyone?
Is this guy from the Lord of the Rings?
Correct. And who is the character? If you know the name, if you read the book.
I know the guy, but I do not know his name.
Frodo.
Okay, so he. Oh yeah, who said Frodo? Thank you. Who said that? I can't see you guys,
Hi.
so that's
Shweta.
hi, Frodo. Shweta. Hi, Shweta. You have my Perry Pona there. Thank you. Yeah. So it is Frodo, played by Elijah Wood in the film Lord of the Rings. So thank you for connecting it. Now, in traditional ways of writing, he is what people call the protagonist. Okay. Now, what is the simpler word for protagonist which everyone uses?
Hero.
Hero. Yeah. So everyone today calls him a hero because we are so used to films. So film mein hero hota hai, right? But in a literature sense or a story sense or a writing sense, pure writing sense, the word is protagonist. Now, if there is a protagonist, what has to happen on the right hand side?
Antagonist.
Or also known as, which is the other simple
Villain.
word for a
The villain.
villain.
Villain. Villain.
Anyone knows the name of the antagonist or the villain in Lord of the Rings? The person shown here on screen. The art of reading has obviously left the room. Okay, so please read Lord of the Rings, guys. One of the most beautiful books ever written. So this character is Sauron, who is the principal antagonist of Lord of the Rings. Now, you realize why I've kept one on the left and one on the right? Why? Because they're like opposite sides of a magnet, right? Two opposite poles. One of them represents what? Good. One of them represents what? Bad. Right? Good and evil, or bad and evil, whatever, whichever way you want to slice it. Now, all our stories, right? You take Ramayana, who would come on the left? You take
Ram.
Ramayana, who would come on the right?
Ravan.
Ravan.
Ravan. If you take Mahabharata, who would come on the left?
Pandavas. Kaurava. Sorry,
Very good.
Pandava, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Pandavas and Kauravas, right? So any story, you pick up any bloody story in the world, from mythology to modern, from 5,000 years back to 5 minutes back, written by somebody else, you will find the protagonist and the antagonist. Now, if you're an average writer, and I'm using these words very carefully and meaningfully, if you're a decent average writer, you will end the story here. Meaning, Ram hai, Ravan hai. You will end the story here. This is where people get it wrong. What is something missing in the middle? You see something missing in the middle? right? There's a whole piece
Yeah.
missing, right? What is that?
The conflict.
Beautiful. Who said that?
Hi, Sandesh, Nikita here.
Very nice, Nikita. Yes. The central part that threads the story is the conflict. Okay. And this is what a lot of writers forget. They focus so much on building up the hero and they focus so much on building up the villain that they forget, why does the hero exist and why does the villain exist? There has to be some conflict between them, right? So in Lord of the Rings, the conflict is essentially the fight for the ring. That's the ring of power. It's the ring of power that can rule all of Middle Earth, which is the kingdom this is set in. Now, Frodo's job as a protagonist on the left-hand side is to take this ring and shove it into the fire of Mount Doom, whereas the antagonist, the right-hand side, which is Sauron, his entire job is to get that ring back from Frodo. So the ring is the conflict, and that dictates the story. So all the story is doing in Lord of the Rings is taking Frodo away from Sauron and taking Sauron closer to Frodo, and putting a whole lot of hurdles between this. Right? Now, in a real world, this is exactly what happens. Right? So if you don't have the conflict in the middle sorted out, in fact, good storytellers start with the conflict. They write the conflict first, and then they sort out who are the characters on the left and the right. Okay, so remember this, and we'll go ahead and I'll prove it more to you. Which film?
Harry
Harry
Potter.
Potter.
Oh, this was easy, yeah? Yes, everyone knows. Harry Potter. Who is the guy on the left? Harry Potter or Voldemort?
Vol-
On the left, on the left.
Harry.
Harry Potter.
Harry
Thank
Potter.
you. I thought I had it mixed up. Okay, very good. So Harry is the protagonist on the left. Voldemort is the protagonist on the right. So they what? They do play dandiya with each other? Huh? They play dandiya with each other through 7 years of Hogwarts. That's the story, no? Harry already has a nice dandiya, no? His wand. So he
Yeah.
takes the dandiya and he plays dandiya with this guy. No, there has to be conflict. What is the conflict? It is Harry only. Conflict is Harry. Why?
Yes. The last Horcrux.
Yes.
Neither
Why?
can
Why?
live while the other survives.
Exactly. Right. So sometimes the conflict is a thing, like in this case, the ring. Sometimes the conflict is the person, and sometimes the conflict might be the protagonist or the antagonist himself or herself. Right. So when you write a story, the beauty comes from understanding what the conflict is and where the conflict is residing, or who is it residing in. More popular example.
DDLJ.
Arey, I thought nobody will know this in the room. It's a very unpopular film. Okay, fantastic. Okay, who is the conflict?
Simran.
Simran.
Kajol. Simran, yes.
Why? Why? अरे बाबा, because दिलवाले दुल्हनिया लेकर जाना चाहता है ना.
He wants to marry Raj
Yes.
and his
Correct.
father.
Correct. Now the beauty of this is, can you tell me, is it not possible that Amrish Puri sir was actually the protagonist and Mr. Was the antagonist in this? Quite possible.
Depends on the
Yeah.
situation and who
So,
is thinking.
yeah. Like for example, your own father wants you to get married, right, for your own good. Does it make him a villain necessarily?
No.
No.
Right. Correct. So sometimes those stories, that's what the shades of gray conflict happens, right? This is a shades of gray story. There is no black or white. There is a conflict between equals, meaning the father in this case has as much right on Simran and deciding what her fate or future is going to be, as much as the protagonist in this case, who we think is Rahul Malhotra, I guess that was his name. But you know what? Actually, who is the protagonist in this? It's Kajol. Why? Because for her, who is the conflict? She has two conflicts. She has two conflicts.
Father.
Yeah. So now you see how storytelling is beautiful. If I tell the story from Shah Rukh's perspective, he is the protagonist, Amrish Puri is the villain, and Kajol is his love or conflict. But if you tell it from Kajol's perspective, she has two conflicts, left and right. Now, tell me one thing. Tell me one thing. Mahabharat was written from whose perspective? Whose story is Mahabharat?
Arjun's.
Arjun's. Who said Arjun?
Rishika, sir.
Okay. Has anyone seen a film called Badla, which stars Amitabh Bachchan and Taapsee Pannu?
Yes.
Yes.
What does he say in that? Mahabharat kiski story hai?
Draupadi ki.
Draupadi. Because without the Vastraharan that happens of Draupadi, there was no conflict to the extent the conflict rose. So, if you take a story and you write it from a perspective of X, it becomes a completely different story. The same story told through the eyes of Y becomes a completely different story. The same story told through the eyes of Z becomes a completely different story. Understand the beauty of storytelling. I could have three characters, same story, but by changing the POV, the point of view, the perspective, the conflicts now change. Good writers understand to pick the most brilliant conflict. Had this film been written from Kajol's perspective, do you think it would have been a very different film?
Yes.
Would it have been a better film?
Yes.
Yeah. It would definitely have been a better film because she's torn between somebody she loves and somebody she loves. She loves both of them. It would have
Love
been a
versus
very
love.
different. Exactly. So I'm saying that Aditya Chopra can very well make Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge Part 2 from the perspective of Kajol in this case. I mean, obviously, you can't cast Kajol again, but I'm just saying, were he to make a Part 2, the whole POV could change. This is the beauty of storytelling. The storytelling is all about the conflict and whose conflict it is. You know, there is a thing in gambling. They say when you put money on the table and when you think you have good cards, what do? You raise the stakes, meaning you put more money on the table, right? So a good writer raises the stakes. Raises the stakes meaning takes the conflict of the person in the story who has the most to gain or lose. Understand? Someone in the story has a lot to gain or a lot to lose. If I focus on that person and take that person's conflict, the story becomes extremely beautiful and investing in. So always choose your conflict, as they say. And if there is no conflict, there is no story. A story cannot be between just these two people. Villain, hero, hero, villain, villain, hero. No, you have to have conflict. So start by building the conflict first and then the characters and resolve it nicely. Okay. This is storytelling. This is essential 101 storytelling, which a lot of people don't understand because why they're busy building a world without understanding the conflict. I'll give you an example. There is a guy in the corporate world who is 1 year away from a promotion. Okay, 1 year away from a promotion into becoming a CEO or whatever. But he's also 1 year away from dying of cancer. What is the bigger conflict here?
The cancer.
Why?
Because death is above a post. A person who is dying, and you can see that he is dying, and when his hands are shaking, and when he's not being able to do things.
He has only 365 days to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. So now, can your story be about him trying to be CEO? Or is the conflict that I have only 1 year to do what the fuck I want to do? That is a bigger conflict, right? So as a writer, choose the heavier conflict, the conflict that requires more resolution. Because what are you doing? You're telling the reader, listen, hold my hand. I'm going to take you on a journey through a story. And this journey is going to be interesting because you're not going to be able to predict kya hone wala hai. Ye conflict बहुत interesting है, right? And if the conflict the reader finds interesting or the viewer finds interesting, they will get to it. How many of you guys have seen Squid Game on Netflix? You guys have heard of Squid Game, seen Squid Game?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've seen.
Why did you like it? Why did it become so popular? Anyone?
Because we were anticipating who's going to die next.
Yes, beautiful. The conflict was that everyone wanted the money, right? All those characters, 400 characters who played that game. But the conflict was also about who is going to die next. How are they going to get killed next? How are they going to choose? And that's why you keep watching till it comes down to the last two players, right? The writer realized very quickly that that is a great way of putting a conflict, right? Conflict about money can manipulate people into even killing each other. That's one conflict, which is what the series is about. And two, if they've now chosen to kill each other, who dies first and who survives last? Two beautiful conflicts in the series. That's why the series became so popular. Right? It's written like a thriller. So, if for me, for any writer, the most important thing in storytelling is conflict. And from today, when you write a story, define the conflict. Before you define the characters, define the conflict. Make it really interesting. For example, in your own life as writers, right? Your own life today, you may have various conflicts happening. One conflict could be that you don't have enough money. Two, you don't have a job. Three, you have a job, but you're not happy with the job. Four, you're traveling 2 hours in traffic to reach your workplace. Five, you have a parent you need to take care of. Six, Sonam Wangchuk is on a fast, so I need to make a post about it. I believe in that. Seven, what do I order for dinner? Eight, my pet is ill. Of all these conflicts, which is the most important conflict for you?
Sonam.
For you, it may be. For somebody else, it may be the pet is sick. Understood what I'm trying to say? Yeah. What
So many
happens to
options.
us? So exactly the point. If you take your own day and you map that day out from the time you wake up till the time you sleep, count the number of conflicts you're having in a single day. I'm telling you, there's not an hour without a conflict. Forget about an hour. You may not have half an hour or 10 minutes without a conflict. Something or the other. Na? Bhook lagi is also a conflict. When you're hungry, it is also a conflict. When you're tired, it is also a conflict. Somebody's WhatsApp comes, oh God, yaar, I don't want to answer. Conflict. Boss ka message aaya, oh fuck. Conflict. So in this whole day of conflicts, suddenly on social media also you're saying something, I need to post there. Conflict. That is the beauty of storytelling. Take the conflict that makes the most sense to you, has the biggest stakes to you. People don't realize this. People think that, meri story hai na, main bol dunga. Nahi baba. You have a lot of mini stories and mini episodes happening in your life. Pick the episode that makes the most sense to a reader or a viewer. Where are they going to get invested? What? So it's the best art of storytelling. You know what? Write a story that you will be excited to read. Which it should really excite you. As if you were the reader, how would it excite you, right? So, mota, this is storytelling. Now, how many of you in this room are copywriters? Can I have a show of hands or? Wow. Okay, fantastic. Copywriting is not dying. I'm happy to see that. Okay. How many of you are AI writers? Hands went down, huh? All of them. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you for the honesty. Okay, all right, we'll get back to that. It's okay, guys. If you're writing with AI, it's fine. No judgment here. Okay, just make sure you hide your sources. That's it. All right. Now, how does this gyan that I've been talking about for almost an hour? No? How much time have we done? I've forgotten the lost count of time. Yeah, close to an hour. So, we as writers wonder sometimes when we hear the word content, how is content different to copy? Happens, no? A lot of people say that copywriting or content writing mein farak kya hai? Yeah, why is he a content writer and why is she a copywriter, for example? Because there are differences. right? So as a storyteller and as a copywriter, every copywriter is a storyteller. Every storyteller may not necessarily be a copywriter, right? They're not mutually inclusive. Sometimes they are mutually exclusive as well. But how does this sort of theory of storytelling or this construct of storytelling, that there is a antagonist, a protagonist, and a conflict, as a writer, as a copywriter, how do you take this into copywriting, and how do you now begin to think on brands differently? Is the exercise over the next 15-20 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So, oh, sorry. I lost my own touch with the, okay. No, I'll leave that. Okay. Let's examine this from the lens of advertising. Okay. How does this fit into copywriting? Now, anyone, what's the brand on the left?
Nike?
How did you know? Clever girl.
The dash.
Oh,
With the
yeah.
logo.
I should have remembered the dash. Yeah, absolutely correct. Very good observation. That's the beauty of a brand, no? Sometimes that one symbol tells you everything about the brand. Okay. So from today, ladies, gentlemen, your brand is not a brand. Your brand is what? What are you going to define your
The
brand as?
protagonist.
From today,
Protagonist.
anytime you wake up and you start working on any bloody brand in the world, big, small, indifferent, change your mind to stop calling it a brand and call it the protagonist. It is the hero in your life. Any brand you work on from tomorrow is the hero in your life. The moment you make this mindset shift, you will start seeing your writing and your thinking improving. Okay? Don't call it a shoe, don't call it a brand, don't call it a car, don't call it anything. Just in your mind, it is your hero. Now, if your hero is the brand you're working on, there has to be what on the right-hand side? On the right-hand side.
The antagonist.
Huh?
The
Antagonist.
antagonist.
So who is the antagonist for Nike?
I
Who's
would
the
say
villain in Nike's story?
procrastination, laziness, demotivation.
Okay, not Reebok and Adidas and all that.
Puma.
They're not Adidas, Puma. Who in the room thinks it's Adidas, Puma, Reebok? Who's the antagonist? I'm hearing ting tings. Will tell you. Okay, and who in the room thinks that the antagonist is procrastination, laziness, etc., which I heard first?
I think so, because antagonist is something who is treated as the enemy, right?
So, average writers, average thinkers will think the antagonist is the competition, which is Adidas, Reebok, Fila. You can put another 100 names there. Yes, Baba, they are there in the ecosystem, but they're not the antagonist. They are competitors. They're not the antagonist.
Yeah.
The antagonist is exactly what the first voice said. Who was that? By any? Sorry, like I said, I can't see names. My bad. Who said Pinky? Yes, absolutely correct. The antagonist is the couch potato. The antagonist is the procrastinator. The antagonist is somebody who is wanting to go to the gym at 8 in the morning, but would prefer to snooze in bed till 9 in the morning. Why? Why
It is how the brand sells itself. It's in the tag. Just do it.
Yes, but why?
That's the conflict.
Why did they choose this? Why
I
did
think
Nike
because there are
choose
many. It is the
lazy
That's the
person as
conflict, right?
Correct. That is one is the conflict. Correct. What else?
Sir, it directly opposes the idea of just do it.
No, correct, Baba. But the idea came later. First, they identified the antagonist. No? First, Nike would have said, I'm identifying my antagonist. Just do it got written later because they realized who the antagonist was. How did they realize the antagonist was the lazy person? Or why did they say the lazy person or the procrastinator is the antagonist? Why?
The lazy person wouldn't buy Nike shoes, wouldn't go to the gym or for a run and need
They
those
feel
shoes.
They feel guilt after that.
No. Somebody said something about wouldn't go. Think sharper than that. Think
So
sharper.
there were always shoes. Shoes always existed. But now they needed a reason for people to use those shoes. So they needed to catch that. Like no one,
Okay.
It's
Tell
the
me
everybody
what
brand
is
wanted to buy a shoe and
identity.
run, but Nike said that it was okay to, just do it.
Maybe the shoe is here, but they just need to wear it and just go.
They wanted to position Nike as that brand that's only for high achievers.
No, re babus. You're so nice people there.
It's the brand identity. They
Oh,
are
God.
basically antagonizing the person who
I
can buy
think
it.
Okay, I need to just go here off my screen a little bit. Okay, I want to see these reactions a little. Guys, you guys are such nice people here. I love it. You're a very nice, beautiful, intelligent human beings. What is the job of Nike?
they
To
have
sell the shoe.
basically they had
Stop there. What is the job of Nike? To motivate people or to sell shoes?
Sell shoes.
To sell shoes.
So
What is paying your bills right now? Motivation or the fact that your client's product is selling?
Product is selling.
Remember that, please. Your job in advertising, in content, in whatever we do is to sell. Advertising, not so much, because advertising is also creating aspiration. Nike's job is to sell shoes. Tell me one thing, in 100 people in the world, how many people are Usain Bolt? As fit and aggressive as Usain Bolt? In 100 people in the world, average people in the world. How many people are athletes? In 100 people in the world, how many of them would be athletes?
Maybe 10, maybe 15.
10, 20, maybe 20.
10, 20, 25%.
How many of them are lazy? How many of them are lazy?
Maximum
99%.
50 plus.
80-20, always the 80-20 rule. So in 100 people, 20 people will be athletes, 80 people will be lazy.
Yes.
Nike will sell, even if Nike sells 100% to all the 100% athletes, how many shoes will they sell? 20.
20.
But if they sell to 30% of the non-athletes, how many shoes do they sell? What is 30% of 80? 24. Something. Understanding basic marketing mathematics. The larger proportion of consumers lies on the other side. The lazy people. If I sell to more lazy people, that's where the market is, the low-hanging fruit is. Athletes will anyway buy my product. Yeah. Athletes will anyway buy my product. But they only do इतना छोटा market है. बड़ा market किधर है?
Non-athletes.
किधर है? हमारे जैसे लोग जो snooze करते रहते हैं. And what do people who buy Nike do? They'll buy a $300 shoes. First day they will go jogging. Second day they will go jogging. Third day the shoe is kept in shoe dabba. Nike's job is done. Understand? This was a very clear marketing decision taken by Nike that there are more lazy people in the world. There are more procrastinating people in the world. There are more less athletic people in the world than athletes. So that is the consumer for us. And what is the antagonist? Their laziness. Which is why they went motivational. And who did they use as motivation? Who did they use as motivation? Athletes. You come for this copywriting workshop, no? All of you. Why have you come for this copywriting workshop? Why? Why are you wasting time on Saturday? Why did you waste $100 or whatever you paid? Why? Because you think this idiot here is some expert, no? I'm not an expert. I'm just saying this idiot on the screen, you think he's an expert, no? Why? You can learn copywriting by going to YouTube also. No? See, people believe in things because they want to learn. They want to get something better in their lives. That is what Nike understood. That even a fat person, even an unfit person, even somebody who has never gone to the gym in their lives wants an aspiration of being seen as an athlete, wants to be known to be fitter. So the antagonism or the villain in the piece is laziness, is procrastination. And if we do that, we are targeting a much larger market, which means even if we get 20% share from that market, it will still be better than getting 100% of our core market, which is athletes. This is where you're thinking as a writer. Copywriting is not about words. Words come last in copywriting. Copywriting is this thinking. This is what makes you a great creative person, the ability to think like this. Not the words that you use. People get fun. I'm tired of this whole copywriting equal to words. Oh, I write beautifully. No, I don't care the fuck if you write badly. Give me a great idea. This is an idea. Just do it as a culmination of that idea. That's it. Sorry, Nikita, what was that? What you said? What about this?
Sir, what about Netflix and sleep? Is sleep the competitor or?
Well, and chill, I guess. No, yeah, to a certain extent, yes. Netflix wanted to break a different barrier. What was Netflix's conflict? Does anyone know? Good question. What do you think Netflix's conflict was? Okay, I'm just going to switch off my video for 2 minutes, but yeah, because somebody's here, but I will keep speaking, so no worry. What was Netflix's conflict, guys? Since it's been asked.
People trying to
Time. Boredom. Boredom.
Very good. Boredom. Very good. Boredom. Why boredom and not time? Somebody else said time. But why not? Why not time versus boredom? Why boredom? Nice answer. Whoever said boredom, please answer. No, why boredom? Why did you say boredom?
Boredom is a big
People can have all the time in the world, but if you're bored and you need something to binge on, that is when Netflix packs in. You're bored, come here. We have 100 things you can watch.
Fantastic. If this is the level of thinking you do, you already sorted out. Okay. Now, have you written a tadum or have you written anything on Netflix and chill? Have you written the line yet? No. What have you done? You've just gone into the mind of the consumer to say that a consumer has a lot of time today sometimes, but they don't know what to do with the time. They're bored. So I will going to give you a streaming service where you'll never get bored because you got so many movies and so many series and whatever and whatever and whatever. Understood now? Conflict? Very good. Let's go ahead, okay? All right. So this is what Nike understood. And when they wrote the first manifesto for Nike, it went something like this. Quit making excuses, putting it off, complaining about it, dreaming about it, whining about it, crying about it, believing you can't, worrying if you can, waiting until you're older, skinnier, richer, braver, or all around better. Suck it up, hold on tight, say a prayer, make a plan, and just do it. That is what their manifesto is, that you will do things if you believe you want to do them. We're just going to allow you to do it with our apparel. Look at this ad. Run from bills, run from mortgages, run from work, run from routine, run from your fears, run from your worries, run from relationships, run from commitments, run from handicaps, run from disadvantages, run from your wants, run from needs, run from this, run from that, run. How many of you jog here or walk?
You can't see the screen.
Huh? You can't see the
The
screen?
presentations are stuck on the Nike.
Yeah, stuck on the Nike one.
Okay, wait 1 second. Then maybe I'll just stop sharing and share again. Okay? Just give me a second, guys. Sorry. Tell me if you can see it now.
Yes.
You can see it? Okay, sorry about that. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay, so now can you see the ad on screen? Which I just read? Run from bills, run
Yes,
from
sir.
mortgage.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, how many of you go for a morning walk or an evening walk or jog? A lot of you, I'm assuming. Now, when you're running or you're jogging, you're probably listening to music, but also a lot of things are going in your head, you know?
Yes.
How did I do today? How did my boss think I did today? Has mama had dinner? You know what? I need to pay a bill. I don't have money. So are you running to make yourself fit, or are you running from the frustrations that life gives you sometimes? Correct?
It's
Nike
an
understands.
escape.
It's an
Second
escape.
one, yeah.
Right? Exactly. So conflict is very clearly understood by Nike. That people, when they run, when they push themselves, when they go that extra mile, when they say, okay, I'm going to do 10,000 steps, no, I'll do 12,000 steps today. They're not running for fitness. They're running because they're running away from the world. They're running away from a lot of different things which are causing them problems. From this, from that, run. This is beautiful advertising. The moment you understand storytelling, you understand the protagonist, you understand the antagonist, you understand the conflict, and you bring it to a brand, that's when the magic and the beauty happens. What is the conflict in this ad?
Yesterday and tomorrow.
Procrastination. Don't we always do this? Don't all of us do this all the time? Every time.
Yes.
Kal karte hai na? Kal karte. Kal dekhte. Not tomorrow.
Creating a guilt out of it.
Yeah. And it's always yesterday that you will say tomorrow. Beautiful copywriting. But this beautiful copywriting comes from the fact that they understand the conflict. They understand the conflict. What is the conflict here?
The Monday blues, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. We always defer things to Monday करेंगे. Monday आएगा ना, Monday को देख लेंगे. Don't Monday it. Understand, the brand and the copywriters on the brand have understood the central conflict of Nike, or what is the central conflict Nike is trying to solve, which is that people inherently, all of us, old, young, black, white, brown, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, doesn't matter. As a universal truth, we all of us are fucking lazy. We always defer things. We always procrastinate. Storytelling. You are the antagonist, somebody is the protagonist. Protagonist in this case is your own mindset. And that's where Nike comes in and says, just do it. My favorite Nike ad. Let's see what interpretations we get out of it. Why is this a beautiful ad? Tell me. Probably the best ad Nike is.
They say MJ beats
Anti-gravity.
gravity.
What? Anti-gravity, yes.
Okay, let's go one by one.
Diametrical opposite. So, diametrical opposite perception.
Of what?
Like Isaac Newton was sitting and Michael Jordan was jumping off and doing.
Yeah. So what does it mean? What is Michael Jordan doing? What is he defying?
He's defying gravity.
He's defying gravity.
Yes.
Gravity. Who was the guy who said about gravity first?
Isaac Newton.
Newton. So when Michael Jordan went across the court, a basketball court, and he floated in the air, and he went up, and he put that basket, the ball in the basket. Let me just put my video on. Also. What was he doing?
Gravity and anti-gravity.
Yeah, he was defying gravity, which is why it's a beautiful ad. But why is it beautiful in other ways? If somebody just cracks this, I love it. What else was
I just have one thought. For Isaac Newton, it was always, why did this apple fall? So I feel there was a lot of thinking involved versus just doing it. That's one interpretation I had.
Fantastic. Okay. Very, very valid. What else? Very valid, yes. Think. I want you guys to.
Michael Jordan has a Nike, Isaac Newton has none.
Sorry.
Michael Jordan has a Nike, Isaac Newton has none.
Okay. Oh, that's one interpretation. What else, guys? Think context. Think contextually. Think contextually.
Is it maybe because Jordan is able to fly high and higher because of Nike shoes that he's wearing?
Oh yeah, that's the product fit.
This,
that is the product fit.
Really random, but is one a wordplay on one?
Meaning?
Like WON. That it's just random.
Clever writing. No, but it's not. I like it though. Like nice interpretation. What else? I want you to think deeper. I want you to think context. Anyone?
Jordan was chasing, but Newton was idle, sitting idle and thinking of gravity and
The
Oh,
another one is just see like Michael Jordan gets access to Nike shoes.
okay.
Isaac
Guys,
missed the apple, and I guess Michael. It's kind of random, but Michael Jordan saved the ball, I guess.
okay, guys, when you are a writer, remember the world you live in. Okay? Always remember the world you live in. Today, what is the context in India? What is everyone speaking about in India the last 2-3 days? Yeah?
Sonam
Sonam. Correct. So there is a society we all live in. Whatever that society may be. What was the society Michael Jordan was living in? In the USA. Right?
There was a lot of racism.
Racism,
There
blacks.
you go. There you go. There you go. You know, it is in the 1980s, in the 1990s, in a white-dominated United States of America comes a black athlete and becomes the highest paid black athlete. Forget about black, highest paid athlete in the world. He was the first athlete billionaire in the world. What is he defying? He's not just defying equity, he's defying the entire fucking social system of the USA. Now, do you get the context of the ad?
Yes, breaking the white hegemony.
There you go. Now, is this not a beautiful story?
Yes.
Has the conflict not gone up?
Correct.
To
Correct.
a young boy, to a young black boy in New York, to a young black boy in Chicago, to a young black boy in Los Angeles, when he saw Michael Jordan go across the court, it was not about Michael Jordan being a great basketball player, but every time Michael Jordan put the ball in the basket, it was a victory for black people against white hegemony. That is the conflict here, guys. Now, do you know what beautiful storytelling can be for a brand? You understand the context of what you're trying to say here?
Yes.
I want you guys to think like this. This is when you start becoming a great writer. When you understand context and subtext and what the fuck is the story, the real story here. Right? What is our parallel in India in cricket? What is our parallel in cricket here?
Caste system, I think, to some extent.
Oh, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, great example. Why? Where does Mahendra Singh Dhoni come from?
Ranchi.
Ranchi.
Small town.
Which state? Which state?
Ranchi.
Bihar.
Bihar.
Jharkhand.
Dalit maybe?
Jharkhand, no?
Yeah.
How many people had heard of Ranchi and Jharkhand before Mahendra Singh Dhoni?
Tata Steel?
Sir, I'm from, I live there.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Now, aren't you proud that he made Jharkhand proud?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the point. The point is that cricket in India was dominated by 4 cities: Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai.
Yes.
Cricketers used to only come from the cities because the cities had the facilities, the cities had the nets, the cities had the coaches. But small town India did not have the facilities. Dhoni comes from a small town and changes the entire game. Look at the Indian team today and tell me where the players come from. You'll see them coming from some of the smaller cities in India today. The IPL changed that. So Dhoni broke that system. You understand? So when you do a story on Dhoni, it is not just about him being captain cool or one of the best cricketers India has produced. It is the fact that he comes becoming a railway ticket conductor from Jharkhand, Ranchi, and becomes the best captain the world has seen. That is his story arc. That is the conflict he had to go through. Are you understanding conflict, storytelling, advertising, copywriting better now?
Yes.
Sir.
Okay. Now, I won't play this because it's not needed. So, like I said, if there is no conflict, there is no story. And if there is no tension, there is, if there is tension rather, there is insight. So we use this word insight always. No? बहुत लोग use करते हैं कि यार इसमें insight क्या है? So I'll give a small way of understanding what is an observation and what is an insight. You heard these two words, observation, insight? Okay. What is the difference between an observation and an insight? Supposing you're walking on the road. Okay, you're walking on the road and 4 feet ahead of you, you see there is a banana peel. Somebody's eaten a banana and thrown the peel. What have you observed?
That there's a banana peel there.
Banana peel. What is the insight immediately in your head?
Lack of civil.
Somebody will slip on it and slip.
Civic sense.
Yeah, civic sense, I will slip. Correct. So observation is very different to insight. What the human brain does is it sees something, which is observation, and it understands something from that observation, which is insight. Okay. So these words are not interchangeable. Observation is simply the act of seeing something. Insight is going deeper to say, if I have seen this, what does it mean? For example, if I see a red light on a car on top in the traffic, I have seen the red light on a car in traffic. What is the insight?
Stop.
Stop.
There's an emergency vehicle.
Exactly. It could be an ambulance. It could be a politician's car. I don't know. Right. So observation is one thing. Your brain has already made the connection. Your brain has said, red light on top of car, या तो ambulance हो सकता है, या तो politician हो सकता है, या तो कुछ हो सकता है. So this is the human brain. You see something, you have an insight. You meet somebody at a party. Just giving an example, right? So you meet somebody at a party, and the person is wearing black clothes. And on the shoulder of that dress or shirt or whatever that person is wearing, there is a lot of white spots. What have you observed?
Dandruff.
Dandruff is the insight. Okay, so you're seeing dandruff. What is your insight? ये बंदे को dandruff है या बंदी को dandruff है, यानी इसका scalp dry है. So, Clinic did a whole campaign saying dare to wear black. Because a lot of people who have dandruff don't wear black. They end up wearing light colors. Beautiful understanding of insight, and then they change the whole communication to say that dare to wear black. Wear black, Baba. Don't worry. Samjha? Okay.
Yes.
Go a little ahead. Okay. Now, imagine you are driving a car and you're going down the highway and you see this person with a sign which says to Jacksonville or wherever, to Chennai, Bangalore, Indore, Ranchi, Calcutta, wherever. And he or she has his finger up or her finger up, their finger up. Will you stop the car?
In today's day and date, sir, no.
No.
I like how you put that. Yeah. Okay, supposing today's day and age was a nice age, Ramraj, would you stop the car?
Yes.
If the sign changes, will you stop the car?
If this is more friendly, yes, it's giving more context, it's more emotionally invoking.
Supposing
hooks
it
the
is
attention
Diwali,
for a while.
supposing it is Diwali, and you are driving from Bombay, where you're working, to Pune, where your parents are. You're also going for Diwali. And you see somebody standing on a highway saying to Pune, you may or may not stop. But if the sign was to say, I'm going to my home for Diwali, immediately, emotionally, what happens to you? You say, यार मैं भी दिवाली के लिए जा रहा हूँ, ये भी दिवाली के लिए जा रहा है, छोड़ते हैं इसको. Right? Why? Because the conflict has gone up. You realize here? Here the conflict is, मेरे को इधर से इधर जाना है. ठीक है, जा भैया. Here the conflict is what? मेरे को घर जाना है. क्रिसमस है, दिवाली है, ईद है, बैसाखी है, जो भी है. माँ को देखना है. Just by changing the message, the conflict goes up. And what happens because the conflict goes up? Action.
The emotional investment that you have goes up.
The emotional investment goes up. Yeah. Okay.
That's the toughest man I know.
That is basically the session. I'll anyway send this deck over because there are a couple of films, but we won't have enough time to play them. I'll send this over to the writer's studio and they will or perhaps send this big deck over to all of you who have participated today. Are you clear about the session? I know that we don't have all the time in the world. I would love to do this as a 3-hour, 4-hour session, but I think let me just mota proceed this entire session for you. Okay. Firstly, there is storytelling. Don't get confused as to what storytelling is. It's not a fashionable word that people use on LinkedIn. They don't even know what the fuck it means, half of them. Storytelling means telling a story through the protagonist, through an antagonist, and most importantly, a conflict. The conflict is the most important thing here. Okay. Yeah, guys, don't leave. We are going to have a Q&A. So I know we have already finished 1.5 hours, but if you got another 20 minutes to spare, I'm here. I'll answer some questions from you guys also. Feel free to ask anything. Let me just sum up the session. So, one, storytelling is about an antagonist and a protagonist and a conflict. And if you raise the conflict, you raise the emotion, you raise the investment of the person in that. When you bring this conflict to advertising, from today, look at your brand, call it a protagonist. Any brand that you're working on, any brand. It could be a small brand, big brand, multinational brand, luxury brand, doesn't matter. Soap, doesn't matter. If you treat that brand as a protagonist, figure out what is the antagonist here. And the antagonist is not the competition. Meaning, agar Maruti pe kaam kar rahe ho, that means doesn't mean Ford is an antagonist or Mercedes is an antagonist. The antagonist is something in the human life of that person, right? Once you identify the antagonist and the conflict, you will be able to write better copy because now you understood the mindset of the person who is the protagonist in this case. For example, Zomato. Everyone loves Zomato, right? One of the most popular brands in India right now. What is the conflict for Zomato? If Zomato was the protagonist or the hero, what is the conflict?
Indecisiveness and hunger.
Yeah. Okay. What else? Is there anything else? I mean, I'm just asking.
Having to cook on your own. Tired, having to cook.
Home food.
Keeping them away from her.
Time is the biggest antagonist here. See, we
like मुझे खाना चाहिए अभी.
Correct. मेरे को वक्त नहीं है अभी. Right? It's not hunger. Hunger is a generic. Everyone feels hungry. पेट तो खाना ही है, right? It's the time that you have to eat today. Zomato knows that you don't have the time to visit a restaurant. Maybe you're so busy in office that you don't even have 15 minutes of a window to grab a sandwich. Right? Maybe you're gone home and there's nobody at home to cook for you. Maybe you're too tired to cook. Maybe you don't know how to cook. Maybe your mom is not there with you. Right? They understand that human beings have different reasons why. So hunger is not a thing there. It's time. And that's why the time pe khana chahiye types, which is where they started from. Of course, it's gone into various different zones today with humor, etc. But primarily, you have to identify a protagonist. Now, if you're a toothpaste, like Close Up, what is the protagonist? I mean, Close Up is the protagonist. What is the antagonist for Close Up?
Cavities.
Sorry, yes, Rishika. Sorry. So Anvesha says cavities. Rishika, you say?
Dental health issues and like the access to them.
Food,
No,
yellow teeth.
it's not.
Food.
No. Close Up is about fresh.
Bad breath.
Close Up. It's bad breath. Why did they not say cavities or whatever? Why? Which toothpaste has that? Colgate.
Sensodyne.
And Sensodyne, correct. So Colgate has already taken cavities, white teeth. Sensodyne has already taken whatever, sensitive teeth. Close Up couldn't go in that direction. So what did Close Up do? They said, when I speak, smell comes from my mouth and it's a put off today, right? So they took Close Up Confidence, which is fresh breath. Choose your antagonist. If your competitor has already chosen one antagonist, don't go and choose the same antagonist because then you are becoming a Me Too product. So that's what is called positioning. It's in loose words, that is product positioning, right? Or product market positioning. But as a copywriter, you need to understand this. You need to understand the zeitgeist of the times. What context are we living in? Where is the market? What are your competitors doing? What is my consumer all about? Right? This is storytelling. This is the antagonist-protagonist theory, the conflict theory. Bring that to your advertising. Bring that to your writing. Every time you will see your writing gets better, your thinking gets better, your positioning gets better, your clarity happens. Then go and open a ChatGPT and do whatever you want to do with ChatGPT. Well, thoda idhar use karo. What is this called in English? Andar kya? What is the English word for what is inside?
Brain,
Brain.
mind.
How do you spell brain?
BRAIN.
BRAIN.
So what are the two central letters of brain?
AI.
AI.
Got it? There is better AI in your brain than the AI outside. That is your speed tool. AI is your speed tool, your research tool. This is your thinking tool. I am telling you as an old writer, as a wise writer, hopefully, that we survived without AI and we had a great career without AI. I don't know what's stopping you guys. We are unfortunately just so dependent on AI, we've forgotten the AI that lies here in the brain. Use that. Okay, let's go to Q&A. Any questions to be asked? And you can switch on a camera if you feel comfortable, no problems. And ask anything. We'll do about 20 minutes more. 12:30 my time, 2 o'clock we'll finish India time. Yeah? Please shoot. Any questions? It could be anything, writing, career, whatever you want to talk about.
So if I may,
Yes. I think we'll go to Mehak after you. Yeah, Rishika.
so if I may, you said that these disciplines when it comes to writing, they are very different, and so like one person who can have a very good pakad in copywriting is not very good script writer or something as such.
May not,
But
may not is, may not.
may not be. But the situation with us is that we as people like पैसा चाहिए sir, उसी से घर चलेगा. We cannot deny that. But we are being asked to do a lot of things. Like if even if we want to like super specialize in something, they're being asked to like also be a social media manager, also be a video editor, also be this and that, in order to get like into the threshold of just say I wanted to get into an ad industry, but they're asking me to do a lot of things that I will then have to learn, and then I will never be able to super specialize in something, at least for a very long time.
Can I answer? Can I answer? Superb question, Rishika. And I have got this question a million times already. Yeah. And I have one answer, and only one answer for this. Unfortunately, the young guys in the room today, y'all are in a situation today where y'all are being asked to do too many things. And I totally empathize with that. We were lucky. We had only press and television in our times. Today, social media coming in, you literally have to do everything like you said. Social media management bhi karo, reel bhi banao, reel shoot bhi karo, manage bhi karo, all that. My contention to this is that your best years as a writer, your peak years as a writer, are from 33 to 45. So if you're below 33, don't worry. You can specialize 7 to 8 years down the line when you're better and more comfortable as a writer. See, again, the problem with the world right now is that everyone wants everything fast. LinkedIn especially is geared like that. Abhi karo, I'm super successful, 6-figure income, 9-figure income. Fuck you. 2 words, fuck you. Don't worry about that. Your writing career is 40 years, 50 years, 60 years if you are got this and your heart in the right place and your health in the right place. It's a long game. It's a marathon. Why are you burning yourself at the 100-meter mark? My contention is...
if I may, yes, sorry.
Yeah, no, Rishika, my contention is no. Earn the money that you need to earn and do what you need to do, but find the place where you're comfortable as a writer. Because sometimes, no, you may not realize you may actually be good at script writing even if you hate it. Give yourself some time to hate something or love something. It could take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Once you have a puckered, as they say, on something and you yourself want to do it, you will eventually find your way into copywriting fully or content fully or script fully. Right? I've seen writers go through various journeys in their life. I have a 50-year-old friend my age who after 25 years in advertising has become a script writer today. He has never script written before. Now, does it stop him? No. He's learning now. So the idea is learn. No problems.
Yes, if I may like ask a follow-up question for that.
Yeah, please.
How do we breach the ad industry then? Like we are at the threshold where we are like asking the HRs and we are taking interviews, and a lot of is being asked of us. But how do we breach it without mentorship? Because you're here for us, that is like a privilege. But how do we seek mentors and how do we breach into the industry?
Well, you breach into the industry exactly the same way I breached into the industry 27 years back. I didn't have mentors. You guys have technology. I didn't have technology. Did I go to a copywriting workshop when I was growing up? No. You go with your passion and you go with a body of work that they cannot say no to. I got my first job in advertising, writing my ideas on a sheet of paper and going into an advertising agency and showing it to a creative director. The problem today is that everyone is so busy online. LinkedIn पे job application डाल दिया, यहाँ पे डाल दिया, वहाँ पे डाल दिया. No. First, get a great speculative portfolio done of ideas, good ideas on brands. Walk into an agency. We have forgotten the art of physically visiting an agency. I used to take my portfolio and take a train in Bombay, go to different agencies, knock on their doors, make sure the creative director meets me 3 times, 4 times, knock, knock, knock till I go. And the creative director is forced to meet me. You know why? Because when you send your CV on LinkedIn, no, or you send your CV on email, it's just going to be in some kachra dabba on the inbox. Go and you make a list of 25 agencies that you really want to work in. Really want to work in. It could be any agencies, right? Wherever you are, whether it's Delhi, Chennai, Bombay, wherever. You have to have a desire that मेरे को ये 25 industry में 25 agency में काम करना है. Get their addresses, find out who the creative directors are, look at their work, take 3 brands that they're working on and do better work than they're doing at the moment. Contact, go physically to that office and say, I have better ideas on your brands. And I kid you not, a creative director will meet you. And I kid you not, if the ideas are good, you'll get that job within a week of you meeting the creative director. We have forgotten this art. We want to sit in our air-conditioned homes or fan ke niche with our Netflix and assume that the world is looking at us. And no, we don't want to do the hard work, then you're not going to get the pulp. Remember, guys, we are I'm Indian, but I'm not in India. There are a multitude of writers out there. How many competitors do you have in this market? You know, na? How many CVs is a creative director going to see? I, every day in Dubai, every day, and I kid you not, get 100 CVs. मेरे को time ही नहीं है boss काम देखने का. But if somebody walks into my office in Dubai and says, you know, Shanti, I've come to see you. Do you have 5 minutes to see? You think I'm not going to give 5 minutes? I'm going to actually appreciate the fact that somebody found out where my office is and took the time to come and meet me. What 5? I'll give you 15 minutes, yeah? And then if I like your work, dude, come, join. You already bypassed everybody else who sent me those CVs on the internet. This is where I want you guys to think differently, yaar. Mat बैठो मत आराम से कि हो मेरे लिए हो जाएगा. You want to make it, you have to prove yourself. And it's not easy because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of writers out there. Right? People at varying degrees will have lost their jobs. They're also in the market. There are seniors also who are in the market. So it's not easy for anyone. The only way out of this is really to be passionate about what you want to do, get a great body of work, and then go and physically knock. You'll be surprised how it works because people don't do it. People assume that mail पे भेज दिया हो गया. नहीं होता ऐसा. समझा? My answer, my perspective. I may be wrong, Rishika. I'm not saying that this is the right perspective.
No, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely.
There is never a right or a wrong. I'm saying this is the way I would look at it from if I was in your shoes. That I would physically go and meet somebody because it is the best way to break ice even today. Yeah? Meg,
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. So my question was, what's your main source of inspiration? For example, if I were to, I'm someone who wants to write on LinkedIn probably every week or once a week at least. But to get that groundbreaking idea or to think, I just wanted to ask, how do you think faster? I mean, what's your main source of inspiration, and how do you have those peak hours where you sit and jot down ideas, or how exactly did you develop the taste?
My inspiration, Mehak, is the fact that God gave me the skill to write and earn money out of it. And I take that as a blessing. Right? You know, there are 2 goddesses, and I know that I don't want to make this religious. I'm not a religious person, but I'm just giving a metaphorical example. Right? In Hinduism, there are 2 goddesses, Goddess Lakshmi and Goddess Saraswati. Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth. Saraswati is the goddess of knowledge. Writing or any creative art is the only art where your knowledge gets you the wealth, right? So if you pursue knowledge and you believe your skill is good, it will be the inspiration for you. Look, I've given this example many times. You're working in a bank. Supposing you get a bank job as a cashier, and 8 in the morning you go and sit behind a cash counter, and you finish at say 8 in the evening or 7 in the evening, and the whole day you counted 1 crore rupees of cash. How much of that cash is yours?
None.
Is that a thankless job or not a thankless job? The thankless job. Whereas you are getting paid to have fun. That should be your inspiration. That is your inspiration. यार मैं कुछ टीवी पे देख रहा हूँ, आइडिया आई, ब्रांड को बोल दिया. मैं कुछ खाना खाया, आइडिया आया, ब्रांड को बोल दिया. मैंने कुछ म्यूजिक सुना, टीवी देखा, फिल्म देखा, ब्रांड को बोल दिया. Somebody is paying me to masturbate. I'm sorry to use those words, but I am masturbating and I'm having fun here. That should be your inspiration. So just imbibe yourself in life. Enjoy, guys, enjoy life. Stop getting so stressed. Stop getting. I am as energetic today at 51 as I was when I was 24. And the only reason I'm like this is because I love this fucking field. You can wear what you want. You can wear slippers and go to office if you want. You are getting paid to have fun. Remember this. बहुत कम प्रोफेशंस हैं यहाँ पे वर्ल्ड में जहाँ पे आपको पैसे मिलते हैं मजा करने के. तो क्यों स्ट्रेस लें? आप पूरा दिन बैठ के YouTube भी देखोगे ना, आपको बोल सकते हो किसी को I'm doing my idea referencing here. Who's going to stop you? And then you can write something based on that. No, I can watch a cricket match saying, यार मेरे को कोहली का मैच बैटिंग देखना है because I'm getting inspired to write a film on Kohli. Somebody is going to stop you. Match mat dekh. We don't realize what we have. We have so much stress on ourselves to say that yeah, success. See, guys, success is a culmination of a lot of things. One is luck, no doubt about it. Yeah, where you are, your luck, your destiny, right place, right time makes a big difference, and I'm not going to dispute that. But equally important is your skill. Equally important is your dedication. Equally important is your commitment, and equally important is your clarity. How clear are you? How badly do you want this? If you want something badly, the fuck you're not going to get it. Yeah, you will get it. Right? Why will it stop you? Why? The only thing that is going to stop you in the world is you. Not your mother, not your father, not your spouse, not your boyfriend, girlfriend, pet. Nobody. The only thing that stops us is ourselves. You be your own inspiration. Find your inspiration. You'll get it. Yeah?
Yes, that's a great perspective. Thank you.
Sumit? Yes, the antagonist is good, Shweta. Very nice. The antagonist is us. Time to treat ourselves as protagonists now. Yes, Sumit. Sumit, bolo.
Yes. So the thing is that I hold multiple badges, right? I authored 2 books in Bengali. So, and
Wow.
I worked for multiple brands when I was a copywriter. Then I moved to AI brand. So the thing is that the copywriting has not left. I mean, it's still within me because I worked for a brand and first like Neeraj Chopra won silver medal. So I wrote a copy, silver lining throw. So one of the milk brands, I mean, I don't use the word stealing, but they cannibalize the tag, the copy, silver lining throw, and he saw it the Hindu newspaper. So, okay, I felt so proud that okay, one of the brands the cannibalized my copy. So my idea of asking is that what is the difference between perception and interpretation, and how can we bridge?
Sumita, it's too early for whiskey in the afternoon. But I will try and answer a very heavy question. So you're saying what is the difference between perception and interpretation? So perception and interpretation, right? Correct
Yes.
me if I'm
Yes. Yes.
Let me try and answer in the simplest words possible. There is no difference. It's just 2 words. See, perception is is really comes from your heart, right? Interpretation comes from your mind. Like, I perceive somebody to be hostile is not the same as I think that person is hostile. They're two different. I interpret. Interpretation happens after you see action. Perception happens even before you see action. So, all of us, like, for example, right, you go into a bus, or supposing you're going on a train journey, right, and or a plane journey. Let's say you're taking a flight, and next to you is sitting this, like me, bearded man, big beard, right, big specs. Your perception may be that या तो ये writer है, या तो ये बाबा है, या तो ये चूतिया है. Could be one of the three, right? Could more probably the third word. But when I start speaking to you, for all you know, I am actually a sports journalist. That's your interpretation, because you see me writing something. So interpretation is action. Perception is what you feel. And most writers know they have what is called ESP, right? Extrasensory. Where does this word extrasensory come from? It comes from the fact that some people are able to predict much earlier, right? They भास लेते हैं. हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, भास लेते हैं. Correct. They feel the pulse of something which is not there yet. So that's the only difference. Perception is pre, interpretation is generally post. Correct? So interpretation is actually rationalizing what you've irrationally perhaps perceived. So एक यहाँ से आता है, एक यहाँ से आता है, उतना ही फर्क.
Okay, I have small follow-up questions, if you don't mind. So just I recently have started stand-up comedy. So here we all need multiple antagonists as well. So especially that time, how to create my own image while delivering myself or my creative things. I know it is a bit different from this workshop.
I think a great example of that is to watch Bhuvan Bam. Right? I think what Bhuvan Bam did with wines earlier, like he was one of the pioneers of this different characters, right? I think again it all comes down to, and especially since you're a stand-up comedian, it's good because I'm a sit-down comedian. I prefer sitting down. But the idea is to just look at people around you. Yeah? Every person is a character. Every person. You just have to pull out what you think from people you see on the road, on the bus, at a market, at a restaurant. What good writers and good comedians do is they draw inspiration and characters from the world around them. Like कोई कैसे बात करता है, कोई ऐसे बात कर रहा है, तो हाँ वो एक character बन गया उधर. So you want to pick this out and then make your stories and your content based on that. Like for example, like if I enter a room dark room, and you only hear something like who is in the room? Who's in the room? Dharmendra is in the room, no? With you.
Yes.
But you enter the same room and say, Inspector Bhanda, खाता हूँ ना अंडा, मारता हूँ सबको डंडा. Who's in the room with you?
The character. Yes.
Shakti Kapoor. And if you go in the same room and say, मैं वो परवाना हूँ जो पता तो मैं बना सकता हूँ. You know it's day one. So characters drive stories. Find the characters around you. Everyone has something very unusually interesting in them. If you pick these things out and you get it into your stories, into your creativity, into the way you think. Again, AI यहाँ पे. AI goes back to that. Yeah, we'll go to because we're short of time. Sorry guys. Bhavya Mehta. Bhavya's on tour there. Yeah. Bhavya, you had a question.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was a voice actor, Mehak, at one time in my life when I was young. By the way, you asked that. Right? I used to do impersonations at one time for radio. Yes, Bhavya, go on.
So I had two questions from the thing that you talked about conflict. So I just wanted to ask that is conflict like strongly associated with, as in wherever we are creating a conflict and we are deciding that which one is the best one for our story. Is it like always related to emotion? Is it otherwise?
Good question. Emotion is central to any story, right? Emotion is central to any story. Whether it is, there is in Indian dance, there is something called Navras. You know, you've heard of Navras, all of you, 9 emotions.
Yes.
There are only 9 emotions. That's why Indian dance is so beautiful. So there is fear, there is joy, there is love, bibats, which is disgust.
Yes.
There is heart
Yes.
fear. So if you believe one of those 9 emotions, or maybe a combination of 2 emotions, generally exists in a story. So you could have a romantic story with fear in it, like a horror comedy, a horror romance, or you could have joy with horror at the same time. So it really goes back to emotion in anything. Without emotion, it doesn't. There's no story. Antagonist or protagonist conflict there has to be an emotion. So that is one. The second thing, which I think is more important, what is the word content and how is it spelled as? How do you spell content? T-E-N-T. Change one alphabet there and you'll get the idea of content. What alphabet should I change?
X. N with X. X. Yes.
Let's replace the N with X all the time. Content is useless without context. Context is important. The moment you define the context, your content will flow. That's it. Without conflict and context are the 2 most important things in writing.
Yes.
If you know the context, you know the conflict, whether you're writing a blog, whether you're doing a film, whether you're writing a piece of music, your head will think in the right direction. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's next? Is next? Nikita. Oh, so you had something else, Bhavya, to ask? Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I had one more question. So I just would like to give a bit of context behind this. So I've been working as a SEO writer for past 5 years, and then I changed a job, and then I'm working in a travel agency right now, and it's a fast-paced startup. So now I am expected to write all forms of content, like copywriting. I'm doing copywriting, content writing. I'm writing for LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, then CLM, everything. So the problem I'm been facing right now is that I am not able to gather the feedback that I've been getting. So my perspective is different. My manager's perspective is different. And then we ask the other person, their perspective is different. And we are told that content is subjective. But then how do we understand that which one is right and which one to build on? Because as per my knowledge, what I have written is correct. But the other person is telling a different story, and I kind of not agree with that. But then, of course, because I'm working with him and I have to agree, then I have to change. So that is where I kind of do a lot of self-doubt. How do I proceed with it, and if I'm going in the right direction or not?
You are going in the right direction if there is disagreement. Yeah, no two people will agree, right? There is always a client who has an opinion. There is always a boss who has an opinion. There's always you who have an opinion. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, the consumer who's going to see your work has an opinion, right?
Yes.
Always write for the consumer. Don't worry about the boss and the client's dog. Please, write for the consumer. You are writing a piece of content, or you're creating a piece of content for somebody to consume. Think about their needs, their pain points, their necessities. Don't worry about all the people in between.
Okay.
Arjuna, when he took the bow, his arrow was on the eye of the fish. That is your eye of the fish, the consumer. Leave everything aside. Without that disagreement, you want everything smooth in life, then you're not going to be a good sailor, as they say, right?
Correct.
A smooth sea does not make a good sailor. So don't worry about the sea. Worry about where you need to reach, and the destination is the consumer in this case. Always talk consumer.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for the session.
Yes,
we'll take more questions
one
if you don't mind.
second.
Yeah.
1 second. Before we continue, I would just like to celebrate this moment. We have so many viewers. We have so many wonderful people joining us. Just give us a moment to just capture the people who we have over here. Just switch on your cameras so that we can all capture you and relive
Yeah,
this
don't
guys.
be shy, man. Come on, what is this nonsense? बुड्ढा आदमी आ गया स्क्रीन पे, तुम लोग क्या है टेंशन लेते हैं? Let's put a face to everyone and say hi quickly. Oh, there you go. So you're pretty people on a Saturday. What is the problem? Yeah. Oh, there are like so many people in the room. I didn't even realize. Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Okay, we continue the questions. Who was next? As this is happening. Camera is not working. Camera is on weekend, Minky. It's okay. It's fine. No problems. थोड़ा छुट्टी दे दो उसको कैमरा में. What is the next question? Because we don't have too much time, guys. Aarti was next, or did I miss somebody in between? I think Aarti, you had a hand up on 4. Yeah. Oh, I see Shreya. So hi, Shreya. After a
I
long
said
time.
hi. I thought you did. I thought you saw me.
Shreya was in my first copywriting workshop like 3.5 years back, I think. Wow. Seeing you after
I
so
still
long.
have
So
my
nice.
hand is on top for a question.
Very nice, nice, nice. Yes, yes, yes. Sorry. Parthi, yes.
Hi, Shantesh. So, my question is, it's somewhat I have been writing. It's been almost 8 years in the industry, and somewhere I agree with you as well that AI has been taking up a lot of like everything, so and what I have experienced, like before AI existed, even back then I have written stuff. Like I used to work for publications and all of those, and I was a
Oh,
pretty decent one, I would say.
guys, just in the interest of time, keep it short because there's a certain time on this. Yeah. So we have max 5 minutes. Just keep it short. Let's go quickly. Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry.
So no worry. So what I'm trying to ask you is, with the amount of exposure to AI, and everybody thinks that if AI exists, it's work can be done within 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Like, even writing can be done. A 1,000-word blog can be
Yeah.
written in an hour when AI is with you. So that's where the whole uh, issue has started. Like I used to write it before AI existed, and now I'm quite not so confident because I am definitely dependent on AI a lot, because the amount of work we have, the amount of expectations we have. And one of them did ask how do I go ahead and start writing for myself, or like even if I want to write it on LinkedIn, how should I brainstorm and what should be the topic? Should it be related to my work where I'm working in the same industry or somewhere, or something
Yeah.
related to anything?
I get
What?
it.
Because
I get a point. I get a
yeah,
point. Aarti, there is one Aarti Chawla in the world, that is you. Maybe there are other Aarti Chawlas also, right?
yeah.
Write about the Aarti Chawla you know.
I lost you. I'm sorry. Could you
Right?
please come again?
Write about the Aarti Chawla that you know. Who is the Aarti Chawla you know? Yourself, no?
Hmm.
Write about that person. LinkedIn is a game of personality, not personal branding. It's a game of personality. What is your personality? What are you about? What drives you? What do you like? What is your perspective? What is your POV?
Hmm.
That is what LinkedIn has come down to today. And if your perspective is interesting, your POV is interesting, people will read you, will resonate with you. So it's not about I have to write only about advertising, or I have to write only about copywriting, or I have to write only about X or Y. Not that. What is my perspective is important here. How
Hmm.
clear, how interesting am I? How do I pick things and create a story out of it? Same conflict. How do I look at it differently? That is what LinkedIn is. You're never short of topics as long as you're clear about what your perspective is. So write about your life, about Aarti, about what Aarti believes in, what Aarti sees, what Aarti perceives. Like somebody said, perception interpretation, right? Sumita said that. It's really about that. Gone are the days when you had to say 10 tips to do this and 50 tips to do this. That was 3 years back. That's when the
Hmm.
algorithm was. Today, nobody cares. It's all AI slop. In this whole AI slop business, what is Aarti Chawla all about? Is where the game is with LinkedIn. And LinkedIn will promote your post if they believe it's human enough to be promoted. That's what the algo does these days. Yeah?
Hmm.
Okay. All right. I'll just keep one more question, guys, because it's way beyond. And I know that Sohini's been messaging by the other side saying that Ankara. So one last question.
Sir, can I please go?
Yes, of course. मैं थोड़ी
Uh,
तेरे को हैंडकफ्स डाल के रखे हैं उधर है.
नहीं सर, आपने लास्ट बोला इसलिए मैंने बोला कि now or never.
Yeah, go for the question. I thought you wanted to leave the room. Please go,
No,
sir.
sir. Sir, what I wanted to do was to show you one campaign that I made, like 58 seconders. Can you please just give me a review or quick?
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's not waste everyone's time. Take my 1 second. I'll save it for everyone. Yeah, just send me an email on my email for everyone's benefit. I'll put it here, and you can send it to me. I'll give you my proper critique on it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's there on the chat. Yeah. I
Sandesh,
don't want to
one
give you that.
question, if I can just quickly take that five
Yes,
seconds.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So as I've been doing this for a while, and I've moved the brand side about a couple of years ago. One observation is, as we move from agencies to brand side, right, you end up doing a lot more than beautiful copy on print, and you have to end up doing a lot of performance marketing or CRM and push notifications and ads that run on
Yeah.
Instagram. How easy or difficult? So my question is, how easy or difficult is to continue using this, framework of protagonist antagonist conflict? And is
It
there a
works.
hack
It
to
works
do
everywhere.
this? Yes.
It works everywhere.
Is there a hack to do this when you're, writing maybe 50 performance marketing scripts in a day, and you still want to do a great job of it?
Yeah, you don't need to. You don't need to apply it for every line, Nikita. That's not the point. You need to apply it to the thought, right? So, for example, I'll try and give you a very bad example because time is short and my brain is old now. I don't think as spontaneously as I used to. But if you were to work, if you're working on a brand like a fashion brand, a fast fashion brand, and you want to write 50 performance-led lines on a sale, for example, right? Now, the sale is all about, supposing it's a Valentine's Day sale. Obviously, the emotion is going to be love, but can I write love in a different way? Like, for example, what is a conflict today in love for a young couple going out dating? What is the conflict? Possible conflict.
Betrayal.
Betrayal. Okay. So can you do the whole campaign from a betrayal perspective? Just think aloud. 50 lines on betrayal. Getting my point? That is how you do it. So you think conflict, whatever you think is the right conflict, and then use that conflict to build your entire story of performance marketing. It still works. It will still work. It's your skill as a writer to get that out. I'll give you a superb example, and I'll take 2 minutes because it's a really important example. Many years back, there was a brand in India called Lovable. They used to sell lingerie, right? Now, there was a sale ad. They had 50% off on Valentine's Day, right? That if you buy lingerie for your girlfriend, 50% off today. It went to a couple of writers in an agency which was handling Lovable, and the client told them, I just want 50% off today, written in big and bold in the ad. These guys said, nahi yaar. Guess what was the final ad? What was the headline of the final ad? Guess anyone? They had to have 50% off today in the headline. They added a second line which said,
around 50% off on your partner or something.
no, it said 50% off today, 100% off tonight.
Beautiful.
Understood? Why are you buying lingerie for your girlfriend? Understood? That's beautiful copywriting. The understanding of conflict. Okay.
That conflict fund.
Yeah, because why would you buy lingerie? Why do men buy lingerie for women? They want to take it off. So that's the truth. So 50% off today, 100% off tonight. Lovable. Beautiful ad. Okay. Okay. All right. So on that note, thank you guys. I know that this can go on and on and on, but let me quickly thank all of you for being here. It's been really great to see so many faces. Obviously, 2 hours is not enough. And thank you to Soini, to the entire team at Writer Studio. Been fabulous. So yeah, over to you guys. And let's wrap.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Sandesh. Thank you, everyone, for
so
this
much.
wonderful session we had. The first webinar was a great one. Most of sessions are in queue. We will be sending those timings and dates. We'll be keeping you updated in the future. And also, Sandesh, we would love to have you more.
Yeah,
And
I mean, obviously I will
yeah,
try.
so if you have followed this webinar, if you liked it, we will be sending a form across and request you to kindly fill the form and send back to us. We will be sending it via the emails and numbers we have
Just a
received.
quick question. So you have everyone's email ID, right?
Yes.
I'll send this deck over. Just send it to them, please.
We will forward the deck
So
to everyone. So
there are
that
certain films in that which will give them a better idea of conflict.
absolutely. So thank you guys. Thank you for coming over. And this was such a interesting session, on though we have crunch of time, but yeah, we look forward to more such sessions awaiting. Thank you
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Please
All the
keep
best to you, all
following
of
us
you.
at the
And
Writer
Thank you.
Studio for more such.
Looking forward future sessions for this like outstanding,
anytime, guys.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
made
We
my
are, we
day.
are,
Absolutely.
look, guys, I'll just end by saying that whatever I am today in my life is because of what I've learned from people who were there before me, and spreading that knowledge and that love for advertising is something which all of us in our life should do, right? So remember one thing: there's a lot of negativity out in the world. There's a lot of shit that happens in the world. आप positive रहो, आप अपने skills के ऊपर कायम रखो. That's it. The world will not shake you, right? So just be a little more, love life, yeah. It's beautiful. You have one life. Just chumma enjoy it. Chalo, go. Bye.
Absolutely. Hello, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.